everybody. We're in the middle of August. I'm here with Cassidy from PhycoTerra. We did a test plot. Cassie, could you kind of explain more what's into it?
What's really cool is our product feeds the native biology that you already find in your soil. So we're not adding any live biology in there, but we're just leveraging what you already have present in the soil. So how we do that is we feed them what's called microalgae. So really small single-celled plant-like organisms that feed that native biology. So we're gonna go out and take a look and see if we can see a difference between where we put that in furrow versus an untreated control.
Correct me if I'm wrong or right. Hopefully I'm right. But this is not kind of you put it on one time and you got to keep making multiple applications, or is it a one time and you should see most of the season benefit throughout the whole growing season?
We have two different options. So you can go out on your seed coat, do a coating on your seed coat, and then we would recommend coming back and doing again an in-furrow application. But you don't need to come back with a row crop corn beans and do multiple applications through a season. We really see great results from that one application there at the beginning, because you know that critical time right there, that first few months to get that seed established and out of the ground, that's really where we're focusing on, and that's where we see the biggest bang for your buck.
Awesome. Cassie, you ready to go dig some up and see what we find?
Yeah, absolutely.
This here, what we're walking on, this is a little bit more sand here, because right there's the river. When the river gets out, it drops off. Then you get up here on a little bit higher up here, the ground becomes a little bit more solid here. Yep, this is it. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna see, well, Cassie would know more. We should see a little bit more of a root mass.
Yep, we should see an increased root mass, and then really in general, hopefully we're gonna see some more other improved agronomic traits from, you know, stem diameter. We're gonna cut them apart, look at the ears and see what else we can see, any benefits from that. When were we out here earlier this year, Kevin?
It wasn't V10 yet, was it?
I don't think so.
But you can see a big difference then.
You can see the clear line then, in height, number of insects we saw too, feeding on each side of the crop, which is indicative of a healthier crop when you have less insect feeding, so it's pretty cool to see.
Tar spot, what they say, once you get it, it stays, it's a soil-borne, cold weather don't kill it. Where southern rust, correct me if I'm wrong, but it can't overwinter in cold climate.
Rust is a difficult disease because it usually has multiple spore types and then overwinters on multiple crops. Like it actually can transmit to different crops, so that's how it kind of spreads. Tar spot can be blown into by wind, so if another farm does have it, the spores can be carried over through wind, rain, etc. And once you get it, if you get severe case, it's devastating. Wipe out.
Basically, if you got it, you're pretty well screwed.
Yeah. If you don't have a resistant variety, and it's hard to spray with fungicide. Latent period, so how long it takes to actually show up is really long.
Yeah. But that's what you call smelling healthy soil. It gives off a good smell to it. Some of the stuff that don't have really good biology, it'll smell stale. I guess that's what you'd call it. But
a teaspoon of soil has 1 billion bacteria and 1 million fungi.
That's crazy.
There's both soil traits we look at, and then also the plant traits. So from the soil side, like we were showing you how easy that soil was to dig up, that's one great sign that your microbes are going to work. And that's also a great sign that we're feeding that microbial population, because they're critical in helping that decompaction. So that's one thing we look for. And then on the plant side, root mass. We really usually see an increased root mass, and then in turn you're getting more nutrients to the plant. So when we came out here earlier in the year, like we could clearly see that the treated side of the corn was greener, and that is a sign of more photosynthesis happening, so more carbs and food going to the plant, and then also it was taller. It's almost like getting a stage above the other crop, so you're getting a chance to get more yield out of that. So what we're gonna look at is number one, our root mass, and then also we're gonna cut the plant apart, see if we see any difference in how thick that stem is, because that's important like when those wind and rain events, to keep it sturdy and up. And then also look at the ear length and then rows around to see if we can see if there might be a chance of increasing yield, of which we usually see with this type of application. We are looking here at both the root mass and then also the ear development on our treated here, the PhycoTerra side, and the untreated. So what we saw is that overall we're seeing a larger root mass. It looks like the roots are able to penetrate deeper into the soil as well, which is important when we're taking up nutrients, but also to access more water. So that's really important when we're going into like a drought situations. So hopefully that means we can get more nutrient uptake, and then also we're looking at the whole total ear weight to see if that can correlate to yield. But in the end, you know, right now I think Kevin's betting on PhycoTerra to get a more yield, but we'll see here when it comes harvest time.
So this is what we don't want to see. So you see down here, alive, living, so your nutrients are flowing up from the roots up through that. into up to the ear leaf. So right here is where we call this the filter system. You see how it's kind of brown? You can already see ain't near the highway carrying nutrients in this stalk.
What he's showing you is the same thing that you as a homeowner will see in your plants in the garden or your plants outside. If you have a sickly looking plant and you say, well, let me find out what's really going on, you cut it off, open the stalk up, and you'll see if it's able to flow nutrients up and down in its system. And if it's not, that means it's sick, it's got a disease, you need to treat it. Put some of Monty's plant food on it will help more than anything.
Well, yeah, I mean, clearly by size, if you just see the difference between these two versus that. And so it's called xylem and phloem. That's what is moving those nutrients up and down the plant, where your phloem is the food. So nutrients, right? Phloem, food. So the more of that you see and the wider that is, the more possibility you have to transport that water and nutrients to the top of the plant. And we want it to go to the top because that's where the ear is, right? When you get this late in the season and you're looking at something that we applied at the very beginning, it's super hard to see visually differences. To really see something measurable, you have to do into these more deep digs and deep dives into the plants to really see, what treatment effects you're having. Million, and we're at Brooks Cardinals, and we are here today soil sampling. So the soil sampling we're doing today is specifically for soil health. There's a lot of soil sampling you can do. Majority of the times when we're thinking about soil sampling, we're talking about looking at the chemical aspects of the soil. So looking at the nutrient profile, the CEC, the organic matter in the soil. So today we're actually taking soils for our PhycoTerra plots. So what we're gonna do is we're going to go out and soil sample across these plots on both the treated and untreated sides. And then we're gonna take that soil and send it off to our lab in Gilbert, Arizona. We do something really cool and unique in our lab where we actually look at the amount of bacteria that we see within the soil and how we can increase that with the addition of PhycoTerra. It's like Jurassic Park. It's Jurassic Park, but for the soil. To sample the field, what we're gonna use is just a standard soil probe. Today, we also are using just a really simple soil thermometer. So we wanna make sure the temperature is around 48 degrees Fahrenheit or higher. Once we get 48 degrees or lower, we actually start to see that microbial activity decline. So this is the best tool and probably the hardest one to come by. It's very scientific. This is called a bucket. This is how a soil sampler works. You put it at around a 90-degree angle. We'll push it down, the soil core comes out, and then we'll go over to our scientific bucket here, and we'll dump that soil down. So we'll take about 10 to 20 more cores across this entire field. When we're gonna sample we're gonna sample actually in a zigzag type motion from where we're starting the application all the way to the end of the field. And we'll keep that as treatment 1, which will be the PhycoTerra treatment or whatever treatment you're looking at. And then we'll go into the other side of the field, the untreated, because we wanna make sure we're comparing, especially if we're getting out a amendment that's gonna impact biology or a soil health parameter, we wanna make sure we have a control to compare that to. And it's just gonna turn me around?
Nope, you gotta do that.
Shoot, I gotta do work now. And pull this up.
Yep. Well, I think I'll just go home. I think you got her down pat.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Farmer Grace, and we're on my farm, Emmett Farms in Kentucky, and my good friend Cassidy has stopped by today. I'm about to start disking, but really quick, we want to talk about some soil health, and then we're going to get into disking and planting. I'm actually really excited. We're trying out a new product this year from PhycoTerra, which is supposed to feed the microbes in the soil, correct?
Absolutely,
Can
yes.
you tell me a little bit more about that and how that's going to benefit us since we are doing tillage on our corn ground?
PhycoTerra, the seed treatment version, is microalgae. So it's actually a liquid product. So when you open the jug, it's gonna look like your green smoothie that you would maybe drink in the morning. So we'll actually have a test plot where we're gonna split the field in half. So half it will have your PhycoTerra treatment. The other half will be the untreated, right? With your just standard, I assume, fungicide, insecticide you're putting on there. And then we'll come out, we're gonna look at stand, we're gonna look at even emergence, and then actually we're gonna come out around V2, V3 and pull a few plants and look at that root structure. And just that small amount of microalgae at the very beginning of the season will actually impact your root structure. So we should see a bigger root development, which means we can get down lower into the ground, suck up more water and nutrients into that plant. So we're running multiple field plots this year looking at the impact of PhycoTerra. So at Kevin's fields, what we're looking at is the liquid soil applied product. So what we do with that, we take it out of the jug and we pour it directly into his planter. And the impacts we see from that is really that soil health piece. At Grace's, we're doing something a little bit different, still focusing on microbes, but we're actually gonna take the liquid this time and coat it directly onto the seed. And so it coats each individual seed all over. That dries super quick. And then it comes to Grace's farm, she dumps it right into her planter and she's ready to roll.
All right, well, I'm gonna hop in the tractor and get everything dished up nice and smooth so that we can start planting today. Thank you, Cassidy, for coming out. I'm excited to see how the trials go this year.
Yeah, me too.
Kind of a bummer today, we couldn't go on the 4th of July slide and stuff up the lake, so we got a crew out here, we got the rifles out, so we got a little challenge here. You know, it's about, 1,400 meters away in front of the tote down there that you guys could barely see. We got a 2.5 gallon jug of PhycoTerra with water in it now, because we did use the PhycoTerra. But we got the cap spun off, and the winner of this challenge is going to spin the cap off without hitting the jug.
Oh.
So you gotta spot about that far. With all firearms, everybody should have used safety. Everybody here has shot guns before. May the best shooter win here. The cap went.
Did it go?
Right?
Way to go, Willie!
Cap's gone.
Was it cap off or cap on?
I think we got a winner. That's gone.
Good shot, Willie. Woo-hoo! That's got a buck to it. Woo!
Hello everybody, today is Thursday the 20th of July. We're out here looking at our Mac plot. We got Kogan Cobb, aka the best cob in his own little mine. And then we got Cassidy from PhycoTerra. We're just kind of looking at our different treatments of no-end furrow, treatments with the PhycoTerra and all this other stuff that we've done. All in all, I think there's a pretty big yield potential out there. Cassie, what are you seeing out there that's kind of neat?
I think the most notable thing is you have really good moisture right now.
Yeah.
And especially where we're at in the reproductive stage, it's critical for yield to continue that yield growth.
Maybe we can get another inch of rain on this and we'll be set up for a pretty good crop, I believe. Kogan, you know, me and Cassie sitting here talking. What does the best cob think about the corn?
It's tall.
It's tall. Now we done enough talking. Let's go in, dig a couple plants up and see what we see here. You know, when you smell it now, it gives off like it's alive, like a healthy smell.
If like you physically look at it, you see those clumps. That aggregation is key for many reasons. One is getting the water down into the soil profile and getting it down into the roots. But then also aeration. You need that air to get that microbial growth and also transport those nutrients into a form that the plant can uptake.
You know, you can look down here at these stalks, huge stalks. I have a size 13 ring finger. Just look how big these stalks are.
I have a size 4. I want to compare my size 4 to that.
Yeah. So we were 12 hours away from bringing the disc in and tearing it up and replanting. I want to give a shout out to my agronomist, Matt Palmer. He told me not to do it, and thank God he said that, because it's still going to be pretty good corn. Let's go out and head down the river bottoms. So now we moved down here to some of the river bottoms. This was planted like May 20th. We have a couple of strips down here where we've ran the PhycoTerra. What I'm really impressed with, that it was able to help change the biology in the plant and slow it way down, because I didn't see any of that tasseling yet. That's going to be interesting when we get over and see how far that is from tasseling.
It all looks the same, and I really don't know the difference, because I'm not that smart yet. I don't know much, but all I know is I'm the best looking cob, the best cob, and that's all that matters. So let's go follow these nerds around.
Right now we're side by side of two different treatments here. But the interesting thing is where we've ran the higher rates of PhycoTerra, over here you can see mushrooms all the way down through here, which is a good thing, meaning you got a lot of biology going on your soil. Cassie could probably explain that a little bit better than me.
So those are the fungal, right? This
Yep.
indicate that you have a lot of fungal growth, which is key, because usually when we look at ag soils, usually we see a lot of bacteria, but we need both.
The combine will tell us if we screwed up or if we didn't, but I like what I see so far. We're rinsing off the roots, or the dirt off the roots, just to see what's going on, how the roots are developed. And now we're cutting the stalks in half to check the nodes, make sure the nodes are nice and healthy. But the main thing is we're down here looking at the pith, making sure that it's nice and clean. So this was the untreated one, and this is the treated. See how it's a little bit clearer than this tip? So this one here is the in-furrow, and it was treated with the PhycoTerra sugars, our normal in-furrow program, and this was not. Didn't have everything else was the same except the in-furrow program.
So on the left side, we're looking at the treated, and then on the right is our untreated. So the first thing that's popping out, if we're looking at the stalk, is the diameter. So we have a lot larger stalk diameter here on the treated versus we look at the same on the untreated to kind of give you an idea of what the difference is there. Also looking at the root biomass. In combination with a larger diameter means that one, the roots can get deeper, get more nutrients, more water, and then transport into a larger highway to move it up the plant to that ear. Working with Kevin, being able to do on-farm trials and seeing these results mid-season is really promising and showing how our product works and how it's going to increase your yield within one season.
Welcome back to Cardinal Farms. We're standing in front of a cornfield here. I'm here with my friend Cassidy with PhycoTerra. We're getting ready to go see what we got. Let's go look at some corn. We're out here in plot we have with PhycoTerra and then the untreated. Just right now, visually looking at the plant, it's a pretty clean plant. There's not a lot of disease.
I think ear height was probably the first thing I noticed. It's pretty tall for what I've seen. Brace roots are just nodal roots that are above the ground.
Me personally, I don't like brace roots, but it's the ones on the top nodes.
Another structure for them is holding the plant upright. I think what the coolest part about these nodal roots that shoot down, that these brace roots have around 48 xylem elements. So that means the potential to carry more nutrients, where like the small little roots we have underground only have like 6. So they have a lot of potential to pull a lot of nutrients. So there are needs for them actually too.
Yeah.
A lot of us think that when we get to this stage, like our yield's already determined, we're good to go, and that's not quite the truth.
We want them to be a thumbnail, you know, we want to get them as big as we can to capture all the weight.
Yeah, I think there's about R4, 70% more weight it can gain from here on out.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yep, that is a lot. If we don't catch the rain soon, we're talking about serious yield loss.
This is corn smut. It's a fungus.
It's usually caused by damage, wouldn't you say? Either an insect or wind or something.
It can get like as big as your head. It's like this white bluish fungus, and actually it's a delicatessen and you can eat it. So you can see where I just pulled that one in half. Looks like a corn kernel, but it's all infected with this fungus. Cheers. We're gonna do it?
If you do it.
I'll do it. It's not bad. We ate some smut.
Corn fungus.
It was good.
Yeah, a little bit sweet, a little bit squishy.
Oh, you didn't eat none.
Yeah, we did.
No.
Camera.
Porta pots are right there. I've been happy with this field all year. ROI, it looks really good. We don't have a lot invested in this crop. It's no Kevin Cobb corn, which I say that every year. We're gonna have a promising yield here. I appreciate your support. We learned there's just so much going on in that soil, and
Absolutely.
high five.